love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kamen Riders. This is episode 10. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, joined as always by Toby Tobes. What's up, Toby?
As you know, this is a kitchen flooded Toby Tobes, but I think it's okay now.
Yeah, we had a bit of an emergency. What a professional you are, though, because if your kitchen had attempted to flood itself moments before we started recording, if that had happened to me, I would have just been like, I'm canceling plans for the next month. There's nothing else I can do. I certainly can't go be funny on the internet. And you were like, I'll just be just a second. My kitchen's flooding. I'll just be a second.
Give me 10 minutes to turn off the water. I'm just going to roll with this.
You literally took about 10 minutes to do that. And then you show up and you're like, so anyway, my kitchen's flooding. It's not a big deal.
Well, it's not a big deal because I could stop it. And that's really the key to all these problems.
Knowing how to turn off the ever flowing water that comes into your house is pretty key, turns out.
Yeah, that's a life lesson for everyone that's out there. Always learn where the main valve is for your house and just work backwards in case the house floods.
Exactly. Or a good life lesson, just don't buy a house is good. Don't be responsible for home maintenance, I think.
That's actually also, like, after this is, I currently own my second home, and I think that's really like the best lesson to teach anybody. Anything that's major, you really don't want to be responsible for. And everyone always pretends like home ownership is all fun and happy sunshine. And then shit in the house starts breaking. And usually the way it works is, and you probably know, when one thing breaks and you fix it, that just the chain reacts into something else breaking and just starts a huge like downward spiral of expenses and money going out the door. Yeah,
for sure. I'm also in my second home ownership gambit. I don't know scenario. We're in our second home that we've owned. The first home we sort of knew wasn't going to be forever. So there was a lot of stuff that like we knew we would want to change if we were going to be there longer, but like we weren't planning on sticking around like a super long time. So we just didn't bother changing it. And when we ended up selling that house, like, you know, the housing market's insane. So like we got to sell it as is. So like we didn't have to go back and fix things. It was just sort of like, this is how it is. You can do your inspection, but that's just how it's going to be. So like, for example, there was a fan, like a light and a fan combo in my office in the old house that just didn't work anymore. Like it wouldn't turn on. And I was like, yeah, we're not fixing that. So it was great. So yeah, those things had like piled up there. But the problem now is we like this current house and we want to stay here for a really long time. So now we like actually have to fix things when they break.
Yeah, that's definitely my problem now.
Yeah, it's a real issue. We currently are we're gearing up towards a bathroom redo at some point. So
that's the big one. That in the kitchen.
Well, and it's not just a like, you know, a dalliance. We're not just doing it just for fun. Like we have a shower that like is definitely leaking that we aren't really using much because of that. So we need to actually fix it for, you know, not making the floor cave in reasons. But obviously, yes, bathrooms are expensive.
God, they are.
People spend like $40,000 on like bathroom renos and stuff. Like it's insane. All home costs are insane.
Yeah, but like most of them, like anything that involves like I'll say like tier 1 is just like it's kind of easy to rip off drywall and put new drywall back on, and it's vaguely easy to rip out a floor and put a floor back in. But when you get into like plumbing and cabinets and rerunning pipes and making things fit and all that, yeah, it's definitely a freaking money trap.
Oh yeah, it certainly is. We finished the basement in this house when we moved in, which is so much more money than you would ever imagine it to be, which is ridiculous. But glad it's done now. But like, yeah, just watching. It's like in a cartoon where like, you know, the guy opens his wallet and all the money flies out, and then like a puff of smoke comes out afterwards. It's like that's what homeownership is like.
Exactly.
Anyway, on that cheery note, we're here to talk about Japanese live action superheroes.
Yeah.
But I think we have some. I think we have some like listener feedback first, though.
We do.
Do you want to touch on those things?
So one of our super fans got in touch with me and wanted to ask us a very important question. So I did the responsible thing and put a funny voice to the question.
Hi Kameniacs, long-time listener first-time caller here. I have a silly trivia question for y'all. If for some reason you got rider buckles bestowed upon you, which animals do you think you'd become on your rider form? Best regards, Laurie from Brazil.
So since Josh just heard the question now and I get to pre-vet it, I think if I ever became a Kamen Rider, I have two animals. I've been thinking about this for a while. The first animal I was thinking of was I really like octopuses or octopi. I don't know whatever the science word is.
Yeah.
But I think that would make a dope helmet if it had like some of like the tentacles coming down like over the like over the vest or whatever the hell you want to call the outfit. And they're also smart.
Yeah.
And I'm a genius. So I feel like that's a really good one.
If all of your attacks would be like ink based, you would just get scared and shoot ink at all the enemies.
I don't know what like boost buckle kind of thing would go with it. Like I don't know if like zombie octopuses like maybe zombie octopus would be cool.
Oh,
but I don't know if that's like the true like pairing or not.
Ninja octopus would be cool. Yeah, there's some good options that you could do. The octopus, I like the idea of the tentacles kind of coming from the helmet. That would be really sweet.
And then if I was more of the goofy character, which I'm sure is actually what I would end up being, I think a penguin would be rad. just like a big, like wilding, adorable, dopey looking penguin would also be cool.
And I feel like they do a lot of like red and white as sort of the main kind of thematic colors on a rider, so it wouldn't even look that out of place. Like it would kind of fit. You could do the like, cute little penguin face. Picture like Punk Jack, but with like a slightly not as wide face.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
And then some sort of ice attack, I feel like has to go with it, or like some sort of slide. Yeah,
you would be basically Iceman from the X-Men, just a penguin. You could just make ice rails.
There we go.
Grind on. That'd be cool. I would totally see like if Neon wasn't into cats, I could see her being the penguin character as well.
That'd actually be that would be a perfect fit. I agree.
Yeah. Let's see. For me, my animal. So two came to mind when you first read this question. The first is just a sloth. Like I don't want to do a lot of moving around. I'd rather just go sit down and lay down and not think about fighting things. And if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it slowly. Damn it. So I would be a sloth, and then like I might have those claws like Neon has, but just use them like really slowly.
That actually be a good fit though, because they have like those weird like their fingernails are freaking like disgustingly huge. Exactly.
I don't have that in common with sloths. I keep my fingernails nice and trim.
That a boy.
But other than that, I think a sloth is really my spirit animal, even though we're not supposed to say spirit animal anymore. But the other animal that popped in my head when you were reading that, when you were saying yours, was a fainting goat. Like, because let's be honest, Toby, if we got in like a life and death situation where, I'm told that I have to save the world, and then suddenly like insane, scary monsters show up and start swinging like swords and stuff at me, my fight or flight response is going to be just flight, and I'm not gonna run away. I'm not fast enough for that. I'm just gonna fall down and faint and die probably. So it might be fainting goat. Yeah.
I like how 3 of our 4 answers are basically useless animals.
Yeah. No, I mean it says a lot, I think, about my self-image. I go to just worthless, useless animals.
like octopuses are known for like escaping and hiding and blending into things. Sloths don't do anything and just like sleep in trees. And then your literal last choice was just, I'm gonna pass out if something happens to us.
Oh my god, yeah. I couldn't even. I watch this show and I get a little like tense. There's no way I would rise to the occasion and I'd be an actual hero. I would pass out. But if I'm gonna pick an animal that's not actually just like a joke animal, my favorite type of animal is a monkey, or like really like a a primate, gorilla, kind of anything in that general family. So like a gorilla could be pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that
Like,
actually be a good one.
yeah, because there have been Kamen Riders in the past. I'm blanking on his name because I didn't watch much of the show, but in Saber, there was a rider who he was kind of like a bigger guy, and his armor was like bulkier. Like he looked like the heavy in a video game, sort of.
So more like a tank than a.
Exactly, much more like a tank. So I'm picturing that for a gorilla, where like it's just like heavier armor, and then like just like maybe a larger than normal helmet to sort of go with that too, and of course like all black and stuff, like big arms, maybe like Gutsman or something, right? Like
there you go.
Yeah. So I guess that's my non-joke answer, is the gorilla.
Perfect. That was a fantastic listener feedback.
I love it. We also have had some comments on our YouTube videos that I wanted to highlight. We've had some good discussions over there. So if you're not aware, we do have a bit of a lead time when we are recording these. So we record, a little bit in advance of when the episodes come out. So we have gotten some of these comments, and it's been a little bit now since they've been posted, but I wanted to highlight them because they've been really good. So first up, huge shout out to Shade_ZZ, who has had multiple comments across multiple videos. Yeah, shout out to Shades. Shades has, I'm just going to go through the things that Shade has posted because they've been very informative, and I think that they're very cool. So first thing that Shade told us was that when Punk Jack hit Mary, do you remember that scene where like Mary sort of punches Punk Jack, and then Punk Jack hits Mary back when they're in the lounge?
Yeah, we laughed for a while because it was so half-assed and like like FU kind of move.
So apparently that hit back, Punk Jack hitting Mary back, was completely improv, wasn't in the script. So when Mary was like surprised about it, it was actually genuine.
Awesome.
That's great. Also, Shade told us that Neon's white bodyguard is Tom Constantine, the actor Tom Constantine. Tom he's a Kamen Rider fan. He is an English speaker living in Japan and acting and doing stunt work. And he is a part of the Tokusatsu Network, which is, again, an English-based sort of toku news website. And Tom posts like a bunch of fun, like behind-the-scenes stuff on Twitter. So I follow him on Twitter now. But one example is like in episode 3, where the bodyguards get Ace's autograph when they're trying to catch up with Neon. He actually like got Geats' autograph in that episode.
Awesome.
Yeah. I kind of scrolled back through his Twitter for a little bit when I followed him, and it's lots of like on set photos and like posing with Neon and like smiling and stuff like that. So he's seemingly a very fun follow, and cool like behind the scenes pictures and stuff.
So what you're saying is, with us starting our fandom into this now, in like 3 or 4 seasons, we can guest star.
Potentially, yeah. I think we'd have to get to Japan and learn to speak Japanese. So there's some hurdles.
Well, maybe like one of the people can just like listening to a podcast, and then they'll just like dub us over.
Oh, maybe, yeah. And then Shade also told us that we talked about the kind of visuals in the intro. So the thing that you highlighted was where Sumuri points the gun at Ace, and kind of like, oh my gosh, is that going to come up in the story? So apparently the visuals in the intro are made, as I guessed, kind of upfront with no real like story reason behind them. However, the writer for Kamen Rider Geats, which is Yuya Takahashi, who also wrote X-Aid and 01, they like to incorporate those things, those visuals, into the series. So Sumuri pointing a gun at Ace will potentially become an important scene in this series, specifically because the writer likes to do that and likes to make them important. So
it might not be like shot for shot, but same
like
vibe might happen, kind of thing.
Yeah, like thematically it might come up, or a reshoot of that same thing that happened might come up. So we could potentially see it.
Okay, cool.
And then past that, so in our most recent episode that was posted, which is episode 8 at the time of this recording, we've had some good discussion about, you and I were a little confused in that episode because Ace kind of like he yells at Keiwa about being selfish when Keiwa is kind of saying like, we have to work together to take down the final boss, and we didn't really understand sort of like where that was coming from and kind of what that speech was about. So we had a couple people in the comments who were kind of explaining it to us, which was very helpful. So Rockman Fan 100 was doing a good job kind of teaching us about it. And also Hope No Mistake was another person who talked back and forth a little bit about it. And I want to read their sort of explanation of this because I think it's a good explanation of sort of where Ace was coming from. So
wait, what was that username again real quick?
Hope No Mistake.
That sounds like a fantastic like J-pop metal band name.
It does. It does. I hope this person is from a J-pop metal band. Who knows? But Hope No Mistake says the point here is that Keiwa's phrasing made it sound like he's trying to guilt trip the others into distracting the monster, which would make their chance of kicking the can lower. Ace is trying to say that none of the other participants will willingly give up their chance to win. They know that Keiwa's plan is the most logical, but the rest of them will not and should not be forced to become the one to distract the monster and give up their wishes. Therefore, what Ace is saying is that do not force the selfless role of distraction on others. If you think you're selfless enough to give up your dream for the greater good, do it yourself. And then I loved this. Hope No Mistake uses an analogy, which you and I feel like really need to understand things.
That is true. Dumb it down.
So Hope No Mistake says, I know you guys are confused about how could the main cast of the show be so selfish they don't care about the world getting destroyed, but think of it in this way. Tycoon is basically asking others to give up their desire for his desire. Be it saving the world from monsters or saving his sister, which is another form of selfishness. Let me give you an example. Suppose the monster is a bullet, and the world is the bullet's target. The only way to save the target is for someone to jump in the way of the bullet and use their own body as a shield, which is analogous to distracting the monster to give others a chance to kick the can. And Keiwa is basically trying to push someone else in the way of the bullet so that the target can be saved by asking the players to agree to his plans. But Ace says no one willingly will become a human shield. If you think becoming a human shield is the best strategy, you should be the one to make the sacrifice instead of sacrificing others' benefits for your ideal heroism. A true hero should be the one who actively makes sacrifices instead of asking others to make sacrifices along with you. Also notice that Keiwa didn't specifically say he'll be the bait. He just said that someone should be the bait, which sounded like he was trying to get someone else to distract the monster instead of him. So I liked the analogy there of like Keiwa wasn't necessarily falling on the sword as much as I think you and I were assuming that he was. He was more saying like someone should give up their chance, someone should be the one to distract the monster, but wasn't saying like, listen, folks, I'll do it.
I got you. That does make more sense then. That all checks out.
So yeah, some very good discussion here about this episode. I love that because you and I have some questions and definitely have some good like back and forth. Why is this way? Why is this? Why is it like this? And it's cool. We can use the comments there on YouTube to kind of flesh some of that stuff out. So yeah, that's been fun. If we're wrong about other things, we would love to hear about them. Or if there's points we're not seeing or callbacks we don't know, definitely shout those things out. So again, thanks to the commenters there, Shade ZZ, Rockman Fan 100, and Hope No Mistake. Very, very thankful for those comments.
Good job, you people.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Editing Josh, not to be confused with Podcast Recording Josh. As I'm listening through this episode as I edit it, I just wanted to insert a little piece of information here as we are thanking the people in the YouTube comments and the feedback that we've gotten so far, and let you know that we've set up an email address for the show. So if you have additional feedback or questions or just silly things that you want to pose to us that we will then read and interact with on a future episode, you can send those things to cast@kamenridersucks.com. So that's cast, C-A-S-T, at kamenridersucks.com. So yeah, send those things along. It'll also be in the episode description, but I just wanted to cut in here and tell you about that new opportunity to interact with us. Now back to the episode. All right. And then, of course, we're talking about a new episode this week, talking about Kamen Rider Geats episode 10. This, Toby, is the long-awaited new game, new world that is spun up.
So as part of this new game, I do have an important question for you.
Okay.
So you know how like they all have their kind of like personality quirks, and Geats is like kind of an outcast?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you think he could write a song like KWA?
I don't even know what that means.
I'm disappointed with you.
What's KWA? Like I know the character KWA.
Do you know the group Outcast?
Oh, hey ya.
No,
Okay.
KWA. I hate you.
Wow. That might be your weakest one. I'm gonna go with your weakest one.
I hate
At
you.
this point, they're not even names for our podcast anymore. You're just trying to make bad puns about Kamen Rider.
I am. See, I've pivoted the joke, and I decided that I pretty much like I spend the 20 minutes of the episode like actively trying to run puns and dumb things through my head, and then I just get sidetracked and try to think of other things that I can like pun it up with, and that's where today's came from. Spoilers: the next episode, it's kind of the same kind of joke.
All right, I'll be more ready for it next time. I will. I hope it's about Outcast again. We're just really leaning into the Outcast catalog.
I'm gonna make. Well, see, it was funny because I thought of Hey Ya, and then I thought of Bombs Over Baghdad, and I really couldn't think of a good Kamen Rider joke to go with that, so I had to go with the easy one.
Yeah, definitely the easy one. Hey ya. Perfect. Well, Toby, last episode, Geats won. He didn't join a musical group. He instead won the game. We also had the monster buckle, if you remember that, which I'd kind of forgotten. I went back and like checked out the ending a bit. Had the like weird like One Punch Man ending with the monster buckle. They had to carry eggs around where the monster buckle hatched out of it. It was a weird episode when I went back and sort of was refreshing my memory of what happened. I'd forgotten about the eggs. But
of all the things to forget about, I feel like that's the thing that's like the most memorable.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I had mostly just kind of forgotten about everything that happened in the episode because I flushed things out of my brain the second we stopped talking about them, I think.
Awesome.
But we find out, of course, the big question was, what is the world that Ace wished for? And we find out Ace wished for a world where the staff of the Desire Grand Prix becomes his family.
And like just straight up front, I showed you my notes as I was going, but like in this, it's the first like minute or two, and it happens a little bit later as well when they go back to it.
Yeah,
Geats and the game master lean into it so hardcore and so good. And so Sumire is just like so disappointed and upset, and it's just funny that like if you watch them more back to back, when you see like the outrage in her face and she's like, why must we do this desire wish thing? And when you see what it is, it's like the perfect like duality like leading into it.
Yeah, she hates it so much. It's great how much she hates it. She says the world that Ace wished for was too much. Can't do it. And then there's a point later where she's like, why would you wish for this? Like, what are you after? And Ace is like, this is ruining the family vibe I was going for.
And she makes such great pouty faces like every time like she has to like interact in that way.
Yes.
Like just constantly. It's just fantastic with that stuff.
Yeah, what's his name? Giori? Like you said, leans into it really hard. Like he like tells I think he tells them like, call me dad. Beginning of that. Which is very funny. I love that everything that Ace does kind of has like two levels to it. Like he does things and he's kind of genuine with them. Like for example, like all of his pep talks to Kawa, but then oftentimes he will like be doing them for his own selfish purposes on top of them. And I feel like this is another example of that, where like he's looking for his family. So like at the surface level, he's wishing for a family because he's lost his mother. So like he's getting that kind of, but clearly it's like he's doing it to sort of further his, I don't know, control or his knowledge of the Grand Prix. So like he's got an ulterior motive, but he also is like just also wants a family on top of it all. So I love that aspect of Ace's character. You never quite know what his motivations are.
Well, yes, like it's crazy because like you were saying with that, he says something else a little bit later too. I think when he's talking to Samara or whatever about why he's doing these things, and like when he kind of like fleshes himself out a little bit, like you said, like all these things, like all these bits and pieces are pretty much like his first wish was a world where he was cool and like popular and had people around him. Now he's wishing for a family. Like all of his wishes are just like, I want to go back to a normal life because I don't have one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's that, and it's also like, so yeah, we find out, his sort of past wishes, they've kind of stacked kind of. So like he wished for a world where he was a superstar. We knew about that one. Before that, he wished for where a world where he could play the Desire Grand Prix until the day he dies. So that was probably a pretty early one there. Maybe the first
years.
one.
2,000 years might be real then.
Yep. So that's why he keeps playing over and over and over again. And that's why he keeps getting selected to play over and over and over again, because, hey, he wished for it. He gets to do it. He at one point wished for a world where he can comfortably live work free. So that was prior to being the superstar. So it was like, I don't want to work. And then it was like, I want to be a superstar. So he's slowly sort of built up this crazy world around himself. But yeah, again, it's all sort of like finding a place in the world too, and like surrounding himself with people that are going to know him and like him. And so it's hard to tell again whether or sort of like which of those wishes are like genuine wishes that he has and which of those are means to an end, because he kind of like he starts tipping his hand sort of like why he made them his family, because he starts asking questions, right? He's like, so how are the participants of the Grand Prix selected? And they tell him like, well, it's a process of careful consideration. The game master is in charge of that, and it's a secret to everyone else. And very clearly he gets shut down. But like that line of questioning was kind of the reason it seemed like he wanted to get closer to the staff of the Desire Grand Prix. So yeah, definitely layers. he's like an onion you have to peel back. But he does get to go to work with his sister after this. We are getting ready to start the new game. The new Kamen Riders are being selected, and they head over to give Buffa a Kamen Rider buckle back. The first thing when we see Buffa, he doesn't have any memories, obviously. He sees Ace, and he says, Ace, like, you're the guy from the commercials. Like, I know you. Which Ace, like, eats up. He's like, oh, would you like an autograph?
So, like, when he was posing, like, he does this really weird pose when Buffa first sees him, where he's, like, holding, like, a rose out, like, all like, dramatic. Yeah. And all I could think of is, like, my only reference to Sailor Moon is Tuxedo Rose.
Yes.
And that's all I could think of. I was like, is it, like, a callback to that, or just he's trying to just look, like, suave as hell, or...
It was very Tuxedo Rose. You're right. Yeah, I hadn't made that connection in my head, but now that you mention it, very much.
Tuxedo Mask.
Oh yeah, Tuxedo Mask. Yeah, thank you. He's like the ultimate anime suave guy, because obviously he'd be, carrying a rose. I'm surprised the rose wasn't like in his teeth or something.
Like Don Flamenco.
Yeah. As soon as Buffa sort of touches the buckle, he gets all his memories back. Obviously, he instantly starts hating Ace again. Asks Ace if he made another pointless wish after he sort of finds out Ace wished for family.
Okay, so before we go past that point, I'm going to use my cool guy memory skills for a second here. So Buffa touched the buckle. We saw the memories fill back in, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I'm a Kamen Rider. I fucking hate you. So either last episode or two ago, when Keiwa's sister touched the buckle and remembered how her parents died.
Yeah.
Does that mean that she was a Kamen Rider?
I don't know. I think it's more like you're I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I think it's more just like you're the buckles are the things that give you the memories of things that happened during the game. So like, all of Buffa's memories were erased, and they all come rushing back, but they're of like participating in the game, being a Kamen Rider. Where Sarah's are like the trauma-based stuff, right? The civilian stuff, where her memories that they had deleted and then come rushing back are just like her parents dying and monsters attacking and stuff like that.
I half agree with you, and I half agree with me. I like I know what you're saying, but like I don't know because like so Buffa got his same buckle back.
Yeah.
So I could also see it as whatever memories you have tied to your buckle are the ones you get back when you touch it.
Maybe.
So if it works that way, that would have made her Tycoon at some point, or at least use the. Well, I guess it would only be Tycoon then. So I'm gonna preemptively call now and probably forget later that Sarah was Tycoon at some point.
So that would be an awesome twist. Like I want that to be true. That would be very cool. But in that flashback, like she's not transformed. She isn't transforming. She's not wearing the driver or anything. Like I think in that flashback where her parents die, like she's a civilian at that point. She's also on the outside of the like GMR area too. Like the wall kind of comes up between her parents and the Giamoto and her. So like if she was a rider, she would just get to like teleport in there and, you know, try to fight back and stuff.
Okay, I guess that does make sense. I'll accept that.
not to rain on your parade here.
No, that's fine.
Because that is you should write some fan fiction because I think that's a pretty fun fan fiction theory. But I don't think that this is. I think the show does a good job with a lot of these like made you think about it, you know, kind of conspiracy theory things. But I think with this one, it's supposed to be a bit more surface level of just like, yeah, you know, you touch it, you remember everything that happened during a game that we otherwise would have, you know, blocked out of your memory.
That's fair.
It mind wipes you. We do get a bit more here next. Ace is going around with Sumuri and he sees Neon. She's like doing some shopping. The bodyguards are around, and he says she looks happy. he looks pretty sad.
Like when you see an ex, and you're like,
it is,
"Hey,
yeah.
her life's better now."
And that was the whole vibe. He was just like, he's like, listen, like I'm glad she's happy. He's seeing her from afar. Doesn't want to bug her. He's glad she got out of it. And he also says like, I hope Tycoon's doing well too. he's pining for his friends, and I thought that was actually like really sweet.
He plays a tough guy on the outside, but on the inside, he's mush.
Speaking of mush, we get a little bit of a taste of what Keiwa is up to. Keiwa is just a disaster of a human these days. He's just addicted to scratch offs randomly.
So this is the first time I felt alive in a bond with Keiwa, with his new degenerate lifestyle. Just
getting way into scratchers. You're like, yeah, buy the more expensive ones, Keiwa, do it. Yeah, it's I was there too. I'm like, yeah, this is good. Keep buying it. Sarah shows up. He's doing some scratch offs. She's gonna buy him lunch. He drops the bomb that he wants sushi and not tanuki soba. So clearly he's a changed man.
He's completely shook since last time.
He is, yeah. We quickly though leave Keiwa and Sarah behind because the new game is starting. We've collected all of our random assortment of civilians that are becoming Kamen Riders. So it appears Neon is not in the game and Keiwa is not in the game. They're not there.
They're living their happier life. Before we get too far past the Keiwa, the new 2.0 version here, I just found it funny that like during the speech where Sarah's trying to motivate him and stuff, he was there. She said like there's people like asking for donations to save animals, and you would in the past you would have given money to that, but now you're just doing nothing with it. I find it funny that Keiwa was a person in a silly animal outfit, and he's not giving money to help protect the animals, and like they're animals who fight people.
Yeah, he's actively a hostile animal, or was in the past. He could maybe he can incorporate his Kamen Rider clothes that he's not using anymore, and just wear them as the mascot for the Save the Animals campaign. Yeah, I wonder. So that's a side. I know I was joking about obviously the clothes that are saved, but like they transform, everything sort of like teleports onto them. Like, could they then like physically take a helmet off and then have like a physical helmet that sticks around forever? Or are these magic clothes?
I would have to assume they're magic clothes that warp in and off when they
All right, that's fair.
when they unhenshin.
Because sometimes, you know, in Power Rangers, you would see them take the helmets off and like hold them.
Yeah, and walk around. That's when they do their cool guy speeches at the end, where they were, we should be friends. I apologize for putting Bulk's face in the ice cream. I should have never did that.
That's where they inserted all those American scenes. Was like, you gotta take the helmet off and show them that there are white people under there. We meet a new character here at this point, Toby. The game master says, "I'm counting on you, Hareruya Win," which is what a name. His name is literally Hallelujah Win.
Sweet.
And yeah, okay. So I wrote down Hareruya has a guitar, and then on the very next line I wrote, "What a loser."
So there's multiple points in this all at the same time, and I'm gonna push the conversation at least towards the end of the episode, but not really. So as soon as he showed up with the pink stripes in his hair, I wrote down Pump Jack in human form.
You called it.
Because the episode where they showed Pump Jack with his helmet off after the game when he was just an admin, he had the pink streaks in his hair, and I was like, "Ooh, he's gonna be a suave, cool guy." So right away, I knew that was Punk Jack, or I wasn't sure, but I had a hunch.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it was the same dude that we'd seen before. I actually didn't go back to confirm that it was actually the same actor.
I didn't have to.
Okay.
I just knew.
I'm so bad with faces, Toby.
I just remember the hair, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a legit thing in movies that I'll be watching them and be like, have we met this person before? Am I supposed to know them, or is this a new person? Like, it's a real problem. But yeah, I was pretty sure it was the same guy. But yeah, we don't know that he's Punk Jack right then, but we do know he takes over the introductions and he proposes to Sumuri using his wonderful guitar skills.
So you had What a Loser with his guitar. I have, in all caps, Rock and Roll Man, Let's Go.
The duality of man.
And then he also does the new greatest thing ever, which I was holding off on, and now going forward, I'm going to change it. He calls her Sumi.
Sumi. Yeah, I liked Sumi
going
a lot.
forward. So going forward, now we just learned her name the right way last week. She will be Sumi going forward.
Yeah, that was the one good thing he brought here, is that I can just write Sumi in my notes from now on instead of writing out Sumuri. We at the same, so yeah. Listen, I think he's a fun character, but boy, is he a cringy character for me. He brings his guitar, like he's not with the rest of his band. He just has a guitar randomly. That's a poser right there.
I just think it's funny that, like, so the last time we saw him, he was just like
a robot, essentially.
A robot, dead quiet, just vaguely did his own thing, no personality whatsoever. Even in the little clip at the end when we're like, wow, he's a real person, he's in the game, we were like, oh, that's interesting. And he goes from like the quietest dude ever to like loud, obnoxious, wacky slapstick hero.
Yeah. complete 180. Just a complete opposite. At the same time, I really like this like tiny little moment between Buffa and Geats that happens here. Geats kind of like walks behind Buffa as they're all writing on their cards, and he says like what'd you wish for this time? Buffa kind of shows him like same thing as always. He wished again for the power to destroy every single Kamen Rider, and Geats of course doesn't share his new wish. But yeah, I like that like those two guys hate each other, but still have this like, you know, same thing as always. Here you can see it.
Hey pal, let's talk about this.
I wrote next. There's a fun old guy. One of the new writers is an elderly gentleman.
Yeah, like super elderly, way older than the older guy with the family in the first game. And then there's also a neon replacement.
Yeah.
And I thought they both had cool, their drivers were pretty cool. Like the old man turned into an old, like a owl. So like wise old owl. So that was like a nice, easy layup for his costume. And then the new girl turned into a ram, which I thought, I don't know what the tie is because there's just a random person, but that was also like both new helmets that I assumed would be gone in 5 minutes were very cool.
Yeah, her ram was a little bit different than Mary's was. Like Mary was a bit more like woolly and lamb based. Um,
Us like the old nursery rhyme. Mary was a little lamb.
yeah, there's that, I guess. Yeah, so maybe Mary wasn't a ram at all. Now that you mentioned that, but yeah,
That's
I
two
like
puns this time, fucker.
I liked the ram helmet, and I loved the owl. Like when the old guy like transformed, like, yeah, this is cool because it maybe is my favorite helmet of the show. Like I like Geats a lot, but the owl was really sweet.
Yeah, his truly like looks awesome. It's a
Yeah.
bummer that he's not a main character.
It's a bummer that he's got a bad back. The game that they are jumping into is like protect the flag. It's not capture the flag. It's just like flag protection. They have random teams. Buffa, of course, complains about the teams because he gets paired up with the old guy and with the girl. They do get random drops to start like they had done before. Buffa gets the ninja buckle, and the old guy actually gets zombie, but Buffa like very quickly says like, that's not safe for you. Here, you take this one. So Buffa grabs his zombie like he wants.
So I find it funny that like that as we see all the teams like Pumpjack and Geats gets put together, and then a bunch of other randoms who, as the games always work, all the randoms drop out super fast. But like they seem like they keep the working groups together. Like Geats having the monster adjacent to him and his team, like kind of keeps him in the same group. Like Buffa had his whole crew basically from the last game as options next to him. Like Zombie was arm's length away. Propeller was right at the end with Neon, but him and Neon were okay at the end.
It really makes you wonder, like, what are the, there's a whole bunch of characters that just got eliminated without us even seeing them. Like, what are those buckles? Like, are they cool ones? What are we doing over there? Because clearly, like all the same ones we knew showed back up this time on our characters we knew. But we've suspected for some time, Toby, that the buckle drops are not exactly random.
Right. So it all always seems rigged, if not rigged, directly towards Geats.
Yeah, exactly. I really liked. So we find out that there's two waves. They have to protect the flag for both of them. Then at this point, we also find out that Haruya has that monster buckle, as you mentioned, and this is where we get confirmation that he is Punk Jack. Geats is obviously super surprised, like, wait, what? I really like that he transforms and is like Punk Jack, and Geats goes, Punk Jack, you. The pirates this time that they're fighting, for me, seemed extra tough. They seemed like they were a bit more of a challenge than before.
I appreciate that Neon Jr. was like, wow.
Or girl.
Neon Jr. was like, wow, these things are so cool. These flags look like pirate flags. And then the Giamoto were pirates this time. And like the clothes were like very like rapscallion, like super baggy, super like thin cloth pants. Like they looked very piratey.
Which I think is what they were going for, or at least similar in the first round of the first game too, if I remember right. Like around the forest and stuff. Like it was kind of the same thing of like kind of raggedy clothes that looked a little rapscallion-esque. But they're definitely convincing pirates for sure. So
going back to one of your questions, I'm doing the cheaty thing while I scroll around the episode while you're talking.
Yeah.
They do have logos and driver buckles for all the players, even though they never really show them. Okay. Some notable ones that seem like they stand out. There's like a bobcat looking one. There's one that looks kind of like a bee. There's one that looks like a grasshopper or a praying mantis. There's a second tigerish buckle looking one. There's one that looks like a Darth Vader helmet or like the Snapchat bubble logo thing.
Yeah.
Those seem to be the easiest to find real quick while we're talking.
I love that they designed all those and showed all those, even though they were just going to kill them instantly. That's fantastic. I love the pairing of Buffa with the old guy and with Neon Jr. here, because it led us to Buffa saying this hilariously ironic line, "We're supposed to be a team, act like one." Buffa, of all people, who wants to kill all Kamen Riders, says we're supposed to be a team. He really gets thrust into a leadership role here, which is very unlike him.
He sees he's got a little personal growth here, so he's good.
yeah, we're definitely seeing it. Punk Jack, it's I didn't think it was possible, but he's somehow more of a show off than Geats is when he is doing his Kamen Rider fighting. He like he like pretends like it's sort of like he's like pretending like the Giamato are like a microphone or something. He's like standing on him holding his arm. It's like he's taunting the other Giamato. And at some point he kind of like trips and falls backwards into the water, which is great. So he's like way cockier, but not quite as good.
And even like fakes an injury at some point. He's like, my tummy hurts. I need to go to the bathroom. And then just goes and sits next to the bridge and just like watches Geats fight. Like he went from like, again, like from the most calm, quiet, robot, passive dude ever to like the schemiest of them all so far.
Yeah, so we didn't touch on it too much, but the game master clearly has like inserted Punk Jack into this game and inserted Hariruya into this game. And then we sort of find out that like here, when he kind of runs off to let Geats fight alone, his goal is to sort of eliminate Geats. Like that's sort of why he's there. So yeah, he ditches Geats, lets him fight alone for a little bit, and that kind of only gets worse as we go.
So which is crazy too, because you have to think about if we go all the way back a couple levels, like is the game master guy just that irritated with Geats always playing and winning that he's like, I just want this to stop and start over? Like, is it like super nefarious, or is it just like, okay, it's not fun anymore when the same guy keeps winning?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out, because it seems like he certainly doesn't want Geats to continue on with winning and maybe continue on with his like trajectory of wishes that he's been doing. The game master now at this point, he says the Giamato are getting stronger, and then he gets a call about an additional participant in the game. So that's a little
top secret participant.
Yes, top secret. We're back in the lounge. Less than half are left after the single wave. The old guy tells us that his wish is to be young again. That's what he wants. That's what he wrote on his card. And Neon Jr. wants to, this is why you're calling her Neon Jr., wants to lose 10 kilograms and marry an idol.
Hey, that's Geats.
Yeah.
Geats-ish.
Geats is right there. and all this running around as a Kamen Rider, you're bound to burn some pounds. So, hey, we're doing it. Because of their wishes that they profess, Buffa gives them a big speech, says, listen, you're a Kamen Rider now. You got to act like one, essentially.
Wise up a little bit.
Yeah. We have our little confrontation now with Punk Jack. So, he's there. He's Hariruya. He's participating. And he says, like, hey, I'm not staff. I'm a small-time punk rocker.
And every time he talks, it needs to be noted that he runs around and plays, like, pop-punk guitar riffs.
Yeah.
So, like, it's kind of hard for me to dislike him, because he is jamming out the whole time. But he's just very annoying about it.
He's so annoying about it. Yeah, everything he says has to be, like, accented with guitar riffs. And, yeah, it's a thing. It's a real vibe. It's very Looney Tunes, the way that he behaves. He's
like the real life meme joke of like everyone that ever touches like an acoustic guitar is like, let me play Wonderwall for you. Like he is the walking embodiment of, and now here's Wonderwall by some like frat guy with like an acoustic guitar.
Truly. Man, so much happened in this episode. I'd kind of forgotten about this a little bit. We find out that Neon is going to have a marriage interview potentially. So they're going to bring in a suitor and see if she likes him. But she says she trusts her mom's judgment. So she's resigned her will to like, whatever, I guess. Yeah, I'll marry whoever my mom wants.
So when her mom said that she would like, Neon, we're going to bring your suitor in, I was really hoping like they bring out like this very official manila folder with like a picture in it.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping it was someone we know. Like, obviously, like maybe Geats would be like the easy one, or like maybe Buffa. Like, there's no way it was gonna be like Kewa. But like I was really hoping it'd be someone we knew and be like, what the hell is this?
It wasn't someone we knew, but the person that it was, I've never seen a person that is more like the physical embodiment of boring. Like not to rag on that person and his actual physical appearance, but like they did him up in such a way that he's like the quintessential like no personality, I only care about my career type person. It was great. I loved everything about the little like headshot they showed us of who the suitor was. But yeah.
Also, the superstar of the scene is Neon's father is now in the
Yes.
picture and interacting with things, and he looks like he could be a serial killer.
Yeah. So that dude shows up and he like instantly, the second he walks like down those stairs or walks into the room, you're like, all right, this dude's gonna play a pretty big role in this show. Like it's so clear he is he has a look about him. You're right. There's something about his eyes that just yell just worry about me. But he shows up and he says maybe there's something else that Neon wants. And right behind him is Sumi showed up. She's here. She has 2 boxes in her hands, and we assume that she's offering Neon a spot once again in the game, in the Grand Prix, and that Neon is the special participant.
The special double delivery.
Yeah, super secret. The second wave begins now. Buffa once again tries to rally his team, and the girl, the Neon Junior girl, you know, she tries to get it right. Like, all right, yeah, I can do this. She has the propeller buckle kind of thing, the big spinny fan thing,
which we saw can work good if you're a skilled propeller buckle user from
like
the
Neon.
last game.
Yeah. She transforms. She realizes that she doesn't want to fight the monsters. She freaks out. She tries to run away. She tries to use the propeller buckle to like fly away as she does it. And then my favorite thing that's happened in this entire series happens. Some Giamatos.
She dies.
she dies in the most insane way you can imagine. Some Giamatos see that she's flying away, pull out an RPG, like a rocket propelled grenade, load it, zero in on her, and just shoot her out of the sky. I couldn't believe that we got to see Giamato RPGing someone out of the sky with like what looks like just a bazooka.
And before she propelled to non-victory, she was trying to motivate herself, and she kept saying, "I'll get married. I'll get married. I'll get married."
Oh, what a tragic character. I figured that she was going to die soon because she was even less fleshed out than the old guy was as a character, or old guy is as a character. But I just did not expect that death from her. It was incredible. Buffa decides that he's basically just doing this himself, so he takes the ninja buckle from the old guy, tosses the old guy the propeller now that the girl's gone and doesn't need it. And Buffa kind of runs into the fight. And then now we cut back to Punk Jack. This is the point at which Punk Jack's tummy hurts. He needs to go to the little Kamen Rider's bathroom, and he runs off. And yeah, this is where he says, quote, "This is where you kick the bucket, Geats." So Punk Jack is nefarious in, again, a Looney Tunes villain-esque way.
Yeah, it's pretty much like he painted the fake tunnel on the side of the rock wall. And just waited for Geats to run into it, but Geats just ran through it, and he just kept on trucking. And he was like, "Son of a bitch."
Yeah, he really is like trying to take down the Roadrunner here for sure. We cut back to Buffa. Buffa's looking pretty good. He's rocking the ninja buckle. He does tell the old man he has to fight, and around this point, Neon shows up. We knew she had been asked back into the game. She shows up and has a new buckle. So we saw those 2 cases that she got delivered. She was handed the beat buckle, and the beat buckle, Toby, is amazing. You want to talk about good guitars? This is a good guitar in the show. She is essentially a one-woman rock band / dance club. She's got like speakers on her shoulders. She has like a keyboard keys everywhere that she can play. She's got like a little like spinny DJ pad sort of like she's full on club music, and it's just is great. There's a giant explosion when she sort of jumps up, and her big attack is she makes all the Giamato dance.
Yes, that was, and there's some cool name too. Like I have to try to find what it was, but like they all have all sorts of sweet. Oh no, she played a courageous melody for everybody. That's what it was.
And then her finisher was the Funk Blizzard.
Yes, which froze everyone and shattered them to pieces.
Yeah, it was cool.
But Neon's new. I don't get too far past Neon's entrance here. So her new costume basically looks like an equalizer with speakers.
Yes, yeah. It's definitely like EQ on the chest area. Her head. So you know how like the lower parts of their helmets always take on the buckle that they're wearing, and the lower part of her helmet, she has like a microphone coming around the side, sort of. It's super cool.
Like the pop idol.
Yeah, exactly. Like a pop star. Like I'm wearing my microphone because I'm dancing too fast. Yeah.
And before she jumped into the battle, she dropped all of her knowledge from the last time, which I think was showing like she's way past the scared girl she might have been in the past. Because she was said like, if you have the courage to do things, you can do it. And there's one other good one too.
Yeah, she peps up the old guy, and her like dance powers make him shake his hips, and then he decides that he can transform and fight.
And my personal favorite part, even though she's a rock star now, when she first appeared, she goes, "It's your girl Neon," and I was like, that's like the most like that's like the generic Let's Player Twitcher entrance thing.
Yeah,
like
it's your girl.
Like for years and years, it was it's your boy, it's your girl, it's this. Like I just thought it was perfect. But like Neon went from like the best character to like the best character with her crazy anime dance guitar hero DJ outfit, a new vibe and everything else.
Yeah, like I love Ace as a character, but Neon is hands down no competition, not even a discussion, my favorite character in the show. and like as cheesy as this whole buckle sounds like we're describing, and it is cheesy. Like her guitar is a full-on rhythm game controller. That's all it is. It's got like Guitar Hero buttons on it. It's very cheesy, it's very over the top. It's so much fun, and it is perfect looking for her. Like it's great.
It is the best tool you can buy for $34.99.
Exactly. It was so good. Yeah, I made a GIF of the explosion where she jumps in the air and goes meow because I watched that multiple times, so then I had to go back and actually make a GIF of it as well. It's really, really good. Which is uploaded to Giphy now after you and I discussed it. So maybe it's searchable. I don't really know how Giphy works.
I hope it is.
Yeah, hopefully it's there. So Neon kind of just finishes that round, like kills all the Giamato herself. She is a full-on badass at this point. We are back in the lounge, and Haruya is sitting next to Ace, and he tells him like, "You're super strong.
You're so cool."
Yeah. And Ace is like, "So is your stomach feeling better now?" And Haruya's like, "Oh yeah, it's fine. It's fine." So yeah, again, he's not very dastardly in his attempt at being dastardly. We get our touching reunion between Ace and Neon. Ace tells her, "You're a real surprise package," which for me felt very much like Mary Jane telling Peter Parker, "Tiger, let's face it, you just hit the jackpot." I wanted a little bit more from Ace here. Like I wanted a little bit of sadness in his eyes of just like, "Oh, you're back in the game. Like I missed you, but you're back, and I'm sad about that." He tells her, "I can't believe you're back." She says she still has a wish to fulfill, and it's the same wish as before, to find true love. And Ace tells her at this point they're kind of like hanging out together. He tells her that he's looking for his mom. He says, "Would you believe me if I told you that I was looking for my mom?" And yeah, it seems like he's like actually opening up, because as we know from the flashbacks, that is sort of what his goal is. So I think that Ace and Neon actually are friends for reals at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And like for Geats, like I'm half shocked he told the truth, but like he always tells the truth when he tells people like his reasons and stories.
Yeah,
But he's so good about like it's like thinly veiled in like his bullshit tone where like obviously as we progress we see like all of his comments are always true, but he
yeah,
says them in a way that like he doesn't really want you to believe him, but he's telling you the truth. And this was another one where he was like, I'm doing it to find my mom. Don't you believe me? Like in the tone of like, I'm
yeah,
saying this outlandish thing that I don't really want you to believe, but I'm telling you because I want to get it off my chest.
yeah. Exactly. Like I actually like you, and I need to say this out loud to someone. Was like kind of the vibe, but also I'm gonna undercut it immediately so that way you maybe don't believe me. Yeah, um, which is that's a great character. I really like Ace and his interactions with people. And yeah, like you were saying, I love that he hasn't lied to us about it up till now. Like everything he said so far has seemingly been true. And even when he's manipulating someone, he's like saying true things. He's not like trying to lie to them.
Yeah, he just presents it in a way that doesn't always sound fully legit. It sounds more smart assy than I'm telling you hard facts here.
Yep, exactly. And then Toby, our episode closes. The game master goes out to talk to Haruya, um, and says, "Listen, it's not going to be easy to get rid of Geats, but it's your job." Basically, is sort of where the vibe is. So fully, we get confirmation there that the Haruya Punk Jack character is in the game specifically to take out Geats. Dun
Again,
dun
we
dun.
don't and again we don't know why. We don't know if it's super nefarious or if it's just I'm tired of this clown winning. I'm playing his father now. I don't really feel good about this, and obviously they are aware of his whatever his new desire would have been. So they're probably just like, okay, we're humoring you with playing family here, but we're going to stop any bullshit going forward, or we're going to try our best to stop it while not stopping it.
Yeah, there's a lot about the game master we clearly don't know, and the fact that he hides the fact that he's the game master leads me to believe that like it's not all the up and up.
Yeah, definitely.
He needs to be behind the shadows for a reason, it seems like. And yeah, putting his thumb on the scales, so to speak, as far as putting Haruya in the game is certainly very shady here. So yeah, that's Kamen Rider Geats episode 10. Like I said, definitely a banger of an episode, I think, as far as final thoughts here go. Lots of stuff happened, very exciting. I thought that we're getting way more into the game master and what his motivations are, and like inserting a character back into the game and stuff than I thought we would do. So that's really exciting to kind of see where that stuff goes. And Neon, my girl, getting her signature buckle. Yes, please sign me up.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. Like as we've gone on, we've done half-assed predictions ish of like how did they keep pushing it forward with the new games, and obviously you have to do slow lore dumps, but you have to keep it going a little bit. And this was a very strong way to start the new game, plus get more motivations for more characters and add a little bit and take a little bit away. And this is like one of the strongest of the first 10 that we watched, I think, as like a full episode, like a one-time piece thing.
Yeah, I think I agree with that for sure. I love that, like, we drop all pretense basically in this game of like, yeah, we're not gonna make you learn a bunch of new characters. Like, we're gonna give you like two, right? And one of them is gonna get killed in the middle of this episode. So like, hey, the old guy's here and he's your new friend. You got one new character you get to learn. So yeah, I like that. We're going through the conceit of it's a new game, but it's very clearly like we're still going to focus on the main characters. So that's good.
Yeah, and then of course hey, here's a splash of KY and his sister. He is still here.
Yeah,
We're just going to address him separately for the time being, and we will move forward.
that was also reassuring that he's not just gone, which is great. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening. I'm super excited for our episode 11 discussion, and hopefully you guys will be back to listen to that as well. If you want to check out the rest of the show and all the rest of our episodes for the previous episodes of Kamen Rider Geats, you can do that. We have a fun URL now. KamenRiderSucks.com is where you can go to find the YouTube playlist for the video version of the podcast.
I was wondering if you're going to address that or not.
Yeah, KamenRiderSucks.com. I've linked that on Tumblr already. That's the one we're leaning into.
So just for the explanation of that, so as part of my getting super into Kingdom Hearts and everything, I find that's one of the games or the series that seem to be very divisive with people. And a lot of people, if you like it, you love it and you get super hardcore into it, like I have at this point. Or if you don't catch that vibe, all my like online friends are like, stop playing those fucking clown shoes games because Sora has giant anime clown shoes for his feet. So the one day I was like, hey, what would be a funny URL to buy? And I was like, I'll buy Kingdom Hearts Sucks if I can. So lo and behold, it was out there, which on its 20-year anniversary, I'm surprised no one has done this yet, to be honest with you. So I bought it and I was like, well, I need something useful to do with this at this point. And I was like, well, I could link it to something productive like the game website or something, or I can link it to my playlist on YouTube where I've played the entire series. So the same vibe goes for KamenRiderSucks.com, where if someone thinks they're funny and they're like, I'm going to go to KamenRiderSucks.com, they're going to get fucked because they're stuck listening to us.
Stuck listening to us who love Kamen Rider, so deal with it. Also, your internet presence in the past has been based on Sucks, right? Like you were like Tobe Sucks at some point, I think, right? Like that was a previous. Am I imagining that? I think that was a previous handle of yours.
I also own TobySucks.com because I needed a nice catch-all email. So like whenever I sign up for things, like if I sign up for like a new, like you will say like Exxon gasoline credit card, I just use like Exxon at TobySucks.com for the mail, and then all the junk goes to the same place.
Yeah, see that perfect. Yeah, so you have a history of sucking, is what I'm trying to say.
Long term, 39 years worth.
I love that you were worried that people would actually think you hate Kamen Rider or think we hate Kamen Rider, so you had to explain the URL. Because I was just going to launch it out there and be like, yeah, so we have a site you can go to, KamenRiderSucks.com, and just not even address it.
Well, if you want to unruin the bit, feel free to cut the last 5 minutes out.
No, I want to be real with the people. I want to explain things. I told my wife that you bought that, and because I was loving it. I'm like, yeah, KamenRiderSucks.com is going to go to the playlist. And she was like, but you like Kamen Rider. I'm like, yeah, I like Kamen Rider. That's why it's funny. Like I'm spending my free time making GIFs for Kamen Rider, and if I link KamenRiderSucks.com in the comments of the GIF, like that's funny. Anyway, I think it's funny and I like it. So yeah, check out.
Much like any podcast of ours, as long as we're entertained, who the fuck cares?
That's the whole point, right? Like, what if you and I aren't laughing, then what's the point of doing this?
Yeah, so like, I guess spoilers. We're really just doing this for ourselves, and we enjoy the fact that other people have fun with us.
Yeah, like the fact that people are listening and are commenting and sending in questions and stuff is really exciting, but it's also just really fun just to hang out with you and talk about Kamen Rider, which I would want to be doing even if literally 0 people were listening.
There you go.
and I would want to be buying stupid URLs like KamenRiderSucks.com with you, even if no one ever went to it.
Perfect.
So check out KamenRiderSucks.com for the video version of the show, or search for the Comment Riders in your favorite podcast app if you want the audio version. Or if you're a super fan, do both, because then we like you even more. Toby, where can the people find you on the internet when we are between episodes?
Well, since it's still here, surprisingly, you can find me on Twitter at Life of Tobes, TOBES.
Awesome. I also am ostensibly still on Twitter as well, although it's really bumming me out, so I'm spending a lot less time on there now. But at Pretty Deece Josh, PrettyDecejosh, there on Twitter. I've been spending a whole lot more time, though, on Tumblr in the past week, which I am loving. The vibe over there is way better. There's a lot of good Kamen Rider stuff over there. So I've been making like GIFs and stuff over there and posting a bunch of fun like video game and retro game content and stuff like there. I'm liking focusing my creative energies on Tumblr instead of just wallowing in shit on Twitter. So my Tumblr is at PrettyDeeceJosh as well, prettydeecejosh.tumblr.com. So check me out over there. Happy to, continue to use that platform instead of the more bummer one. But anyway, I'm still on both. So, visit both. And we'll be back next week for Kamen Rider Geats episode 11. Hopefully you will be back too. Until then, peace.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow